Sammy Sage, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. I love talking to her. You guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, just know there's like separate videos. So if I say something like that, you're like, what are you talking about? This video just started. This is the Valley recap. Just know that there's an interview you can go to with Sammy Sage if you wanted to watch us with your beautiful little eyes. But now let's talk about the Valley. Oh, also tomorrow, Tuesday, I think I'll be releasing that Lindsay Hubbard interview, but I will also be doing a Real Housewives of New Jersey recap. Let's see if we should talk about these goofs. I watched that episode 2 times tonight just to see, and it's yeah, we're back in Real Housewives of New Jersey time. Here's the thing: I'm going to try to find ways to enjoy this show because the fan base, the online fan base, makes me really dislike the show, and I think that's sometimes unfair. But that's why people, no matter what reality show you're from, do not try to get like bloggers and podcasts. Don't use us to push forth some agenda. You're like stars in a sense. Behave like stars. You don't need to be like dealing with accounts that you like that's ridiculous. I want to think that you're above shit like that. I'm like, what? You're buying things for like accounts so you can like they can push a narrative that you want out there. It really is so weirdly disheartening. And it's just like, what's the point of celebrity if you have to like behave like what? Use other stars to push your shitty agenda. Like, don't use like Twitter. Like, it really is shocking because you're like, there's no reason that you need to do any of this. It is so ridiculous. And it is so small town in a lot of ways. So it kind of takes away from the enjoyment of the show. And the show teeters itself already because the interpersonal relationships, especially on Real Housewives of New Jersey, can be so toxic because we're dealing with the same characters now for over a decade. Like, I got to say, I do not care that Teresa and Melissa don't talk anymore. Good. If that's what it takes to move on, good. There also needs to be a rule in place. We need to start a rule for podcasters on Bravo that, like, if you're on Bravo and you have a podcast, we've got to, like, do some kind of constitution where there's some real strict laws put in place. But we also got to be like, you don't use the fan base to let the fan base decide if they like you or not. Let the fan base decide if they are in support of whatever journey you are going on this season. It is just so weird because the thing is, if you reach out like these Bravo celebrities, if they reach out to accounts, of course the accounts are going to be like head over heels. Oh my God, this person reached out or this person. Don't fall into that shit. You watch these shows because you love them. Don't try to become a part of them. I know this sounds like old man waving his fist in the sky, but hell, yes, I am an old man waving my fist in the sky. This shit is ridiculous. And you're going to end up hurting these characters that you profess to love. They're going to get themselves in trouble, but then you're going to end up feeling bad in the long run. It's just weird. This isn't Watergate. It doesn't need to go past a certain point. And with Jersey, you're like, oh God, this has gone so far past the point of this being entertaining at all. Like it's really, anyways, we'll talk more about that on Tuesday. Also, Vanderpump Rules, the recap this week. I got a lot of Vanderpump stories that I didn't get to even talk about yet. I want to talk about Ariana's brother. I want to talk about Rachel and Joseph a little bit more. A lot of Vanderpump stuff happening that I still want to talk about. And of course, we have the season finale. Thank God. Tuesday night, the season finale of Vanderpump Rules before we start however many episodes the reunion is going to be. So I am just so happy and thankful that this season is coming to a close. And I'm so thankful that they're going to take a nice break so these characters can go on and kind of live a little bit of a life so they have a little gas in the tank when they come back to film season 12. Okay. Yeah. That's what I got to say about that. Hell yeah. So, due to illness and circumstances like that, I've not now recapped the past 2 episodes of The Valley. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try something different. I am just going to do a speed recap of episode 6. And then episode 7, we're going to dive in and I'll do the full Monty. So the Valley episodes, and by the way, both fantastic episodes. So I am sorry that I was not able to do the full recap for both. But I got stuff to do. I can't be locked down by the pressures of a Valley recap. So I'm going to do a quick summation, even though you guys already know what happened. Let's just go over this together as a family before we get to episode 7. So basically, in this episode, the big thing that to me, the big thing that happened was Jax admitted he's losing his hair, and he takes some money to promote a hair care system. And he reveals during the speech that he would go into his garage and spray his hair with spray paint. And Brittany was like, he does do that. And so the cast, this is so great. It's like Jax is like the boy who cried wolf because he lies so much about everything that like the cast of the Valley thinks he's lying about his hair loss too. They're like, I think he's got hair. I think he's, but then it turns out he actually is losing his hair. And it's like the one time we should believe Jax, he's completely telling the truth. Nobody believes this poor guy. They just think he's looking for a quick buck. He just needs to put bread on the table. So he's just slapping his name on anything, anything that, God, why do we love Jack so damn much? I mean, truly an awful person in so many ways, so many ways. And I'll tell you, I talk to people that actually hang out with this dude in real life. They love him. They really like this guy. It is so weird. It just goes to show you, you do not have to live an upstanding, moralistic life to be friends with people. Like, it's like, they're always like, yeah, man, like, not a good guy to Brittany. Really horrible. But I like him. I like him a lot. It's so great. It really like fucks with your mind. Because like there's out there people like trying to make like good choices, trying to better themselves. And Jax, we've seen the same old song and dance. The like, listen, it's a bit, listen, I've got a lot of work to do on myself. It's what I'm going to do after this season. I'm going to really just, put the pedal to the metal and work on we've heard him say he's a work in progress for 11 years now. He is the ultimate work in progress. He is never not in progress. He might not be working, but he's always in progress. So that to me was like the main thing of episode 6. Like I always lock onto something that is so ridiculous for me that I'm just like, oh, this is why I love reality television. Yeah, sure. I think it holds a mirror up to the human nature. We can find out a little bit about ourselves. But at the end of the day, it's those moments. It's those moments knowing that the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling was playing when Kristen Doty and Jax Taylor did the Bone Zone for the first time when Tom Sandoval was asleep in the room next to him. Like those little details are why I love reality television. Yes, the pathos, the pain, the humor, all of that stuff is great. But those little moments, because you can't write moments like that. You know how real it is. The movie Drive was playing, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. Part of me thinks they hooked up initially because they didn't like the movie. They couldn't understand it. Jackson was like, what is this bullshit? This isn't Fast and Furious. If they were playing the Fast and Furious that night with Dodie, I don't think they would have had sex. I think Jax would have been like, this movie's amazing. Wow. Vin Diesel. Whew. I love this guy. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so that was, but the big moment though, that probably everybody was talking about and will be talking about for the rest of the season is that Kristen Doty spills the beans. She keeps talking about protecting Michelle Lally. Kind of referring to knowing something about Michelle Lally. And then at the end of this, she lets it rip in a talking head when she's like, listen, yeah, Michelle had a boyfriend like a year ago. Yeah, I knew about it. Yeah. And she, ended up going back to Jesse, but yeah, she had a boyfriend. And there it is, folks. That's the thing that she keeps like throwing out there of like, don't worry, no matter how upset I get, I'll always protect you. This is the shit. So this big fight happens at the end, and Jesse turns into like the Kool-Aid man, like, hey, like starts busting through like Zach Wickham with his hair, like pushes Brittany out of the way, trying to get to Luke. Like it is a throwdown. It is a cage match. This guy, Jesse Lally, you don't do this shit in Capri. He's going for it because Jesse Lally in the back of his head knows something's going on with Michelle. He knows it. He knows it. He can smell it. And he's just furious. He's just ridiculously angry. So this episode 6, was called Congrats on Your Hair Loss. Chef's kiss. Brilliant title. Congrats on your hair loss. Hell fucking to the. That's what I'm talking about, folks. That's not lazy. That's not lazy writing. That's great writing. So this episode reminded me a lot of ways of a finale, but it's not. It's the 6th episode. So all of like the big stuff heats up in those final minutes because Jax Taylor, of course, has a party afterward. And by the way, this is another event that happens, I believe, at the Mondrian at Sky Bar on Sunset. And Mondrian's also the place where Tom Sandoval always like goes. They do so many reality show events at the Mondrian. The Mondrian, back when I first moved to Los Angeles, folks, was the premier spot. It was the end all be all. We used to literally, like, me and my goofy friends from ASU, when we first got here, we didn't have two nickels to rub together. So we would just try to make each other laugh, and we would go to Sunset. And I remember like Friday nights, we would try to get on Sky Bar, try to get into Sky Bar at the Mondrian, and we'd walk up to the bouncer and we'd be like, DiCaprio, party of 8. Like we would just say stupid shit. Like we would like just upset bouncers. We would just try to make each other laugh. I was, of course, like I would always be too scared to be the DiCaprio one. It would be like my buddy Nick or Rich. I would just be in the back going, "Oh my god!" Like we were in our 20s. We thought stupid shit like that was funny, but it was such the big place to get into. And now they're doing hair loss events, and also there's like this after party, like this after dinner thing where Jax and the whole cast of the Valley, um, hang out to talk about what's going on. And Kristen, she kind of like has to get up and excuse herself from this because she believes that Jesse is being an asshole. And Jesse is being an asshole. Jesse really does talk down to Kristen, and that don't fly with Luke. Luke's like, you will not talk down to Kristen. That's who I put my penis in. That is like, I mean, and you could tell this Luke and Kristen, they seem like just two bunny rabbits. They just want to be doing the hippity dippity all the time. Like this guy, I said he's vaginamatized. Luke is vaginamatized for Kristen Doty. Kristen Doty's like, I mean, that's all. And it's like, he's like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, 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 yeah. He's always kind of red faced. And you can just tell, like, he's just like, this is amazing. I come from Colorado. We just got running water a couple of weeks ago. So now I'm like in the big city. I'm having sex all the time. I'm on TV. Like, this is the good life. But he would tell he really cares for Kristen in a way where you are not going to talk down to Kristen. So this all kind of explodes out in the hallway. And people like Doty's trying to like escape the fight. Luke's trying to escape the fight, but Jesse's like, no, come here. And this altercation happens between everybody. And Kristen blurts out to Michelle going, your husband said that he's going to divorce you within 2 months. So this is where Kristen kind of makes a mistake because Kristen's playing this weird game of telephone, and that wasn't it at all. It wasn't your husband said he's going to divorce. Like, he didn't say that. He said to Jax at that weird pool party in the backyard at Jax's was that he thought that their marriage wasn't potentially going to last much longer, not that he was ever going to divorce her. Now, Jax then in a confessional reveals more classified information. That's why Jax and Doty are just a dynamic duo. They are like toxic twins in a way, even though I actually genuinely have an affinity for Kristen Doty. Jax, it is so hard to sometimes root for. But Jax in his confessional, he's like, hey, that was never said, brother. It's the other way around. It's Michelle who's going to leave Jesse in 2 months. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Rumors, am I right? We already know that Jesse and Michelle have separated and are getting a divorce, and they're both seeing other people, which is kind of a nice spoiler alert. It kind of makes this stuff, you're like, okay, good, there's hope. And you can already see a second season in which we meet their boyfriend and girlfriend, and you can't imagine, like, listen, I'm sure Jesse's a very nice guy, but he comes off just like a horrendous person where sometimes you don't even blame Michelle for potentially seeking love outside of the marriage because he makes me feel inferior in a bad way when he speaks to her or anybody on this show. And listen, it could just be, I don't know. And listen, Michelle didn't even, their romantic story about how they got together, it didn't even seem like she was that into him when they got, it was like, yeah, she was like, I was horny. I was looking for a booty call. Like, that's how they got together. She was in jean shorts, she said. I don't know why that sticks out in my head. So also the other things that came up on this episode of The Valley, Kristen Doty, she was like, oh, we are doing the hippity dippity boning all the time. Me and Luke, we could be pregnant. I doubt it. But anyway, she does a pregnancy test. It comes out negative, but it did worry her. We do know that she had been trying to conceive for a while, and that's a big goal. And she did, unfortunately, and this is a trigger warning, suffer a miscarriage in November of 2023. And that's the other thing. I mean, I feel like no matter what you say about Dodie, I think she's going through it. I think it's got to be hard to come back to TV, face certain demons that that you have to face certain demons. You have to get on this roller coaster again of everybody talking about your relationships and who you are as a person, good and bad. I mean, some people really celebrate her, but she'll say things like, I'm an empath. And then we all make memes of like, I'm an empath. And then, of course, she lost her dog, Bowie, a couple of weeks ago. And we know that was a real big part of her heart, but like a miscarriage, losing a dog, being back on television, if you are not really solid in yourself, that stuff can really throw you for a loop, I would imagine. So I really hope she is doing okay. I just wonder what her mental state is. I know she does a podcast, Balancing Act with Luke, where they talk about all of this stuff. I just know, from personal experience that I've dealt with just a little pieces of this. I know how it can rock and floor me or any of us out there. So that's one of those things that I worry about when you watch these shows with certain characters that we've known for a long time. So you have that. Also, Brittany goes into the bar and checks in on Jax and reminds Jax that she wants to be You got to romance me, Jax. Come on. Romance me. Come on. And the thing with Brittany, too, is that every time Brittany looks at Jax, she looks at him with such adoration at times where she wants it so badly. And I don't know. Like, I don't know if she wants Jax or she wants it. She wants this to be it. And the thing with Brittany that's interesting is the thing with all reality show characters is that she wants to be on TV. You can tell that's and two things can be true at once. Like I always say, she wants to be on TV, and it doesn't mean she doesn't dearly love Jax and her family, because I think it's both. But I think she really does love being on television. And even though her relationship is in a really bad place right now, I think there are certain aspects of this that are probably making her stronger. The fact that she is back on television right now. I mean, she comes from Kentucky. Like, these people, like, you don't expect to see the person you went to high school with on television. She's, Stassi hung out with her again for the first time in a long time. Katie reached out to her and they hadn't talked in a while. I mean, things like that, like friendships are rekindling. So even when you're going through some of the worst times, there are potential silver linings. And I would imagine, and I've gone through this a little bit too, is that when you don't have to deal with something that is potentially toxic that you're used to dealing with 24/7, when you get to have a little bit of a break from that, it comes as such a huge relief. It is such a like, whoa, where like I'm not constantly on edge. I'm not constantly worried all the time. The only thing that I wish for Brittany, and hopefully in season 2, is that she comes the way that she wants to look. Like, we've talked about this now multiple episodes where the talking heads are not very fair to her in terms of just, it seemed like she was in between a lot of work. I think Mary Payne from Pink Shade told me it looks like it was a botched procedure on her lower jaw that was making it so it was like a downward turn face all the time. But it's just one of those things when she's asking Jax to be romantic and have sex with her, and then you look at her and it's like something different is happening with her face every time. I know that sounds so base and so ridiculous, but I'm trying to like think of it from an angle of Jax, and like Jax making her feel a certain way, which she wants to feel, but he just doesn't have it in him. He's like, oh, too much work, too much work. All of a sudden, it didn't work forever. Now it's all of a sudden too much work. The pressure to provide for this family. And it's like, Brittany's the one that's really provided for this family with the Jenny Craig ads. You're out there blowing your leaf blower. The self-importance, never underestimate the self-importance of a male, of how self-important we are in our own heads. And I've said this time and time again. It's sometimes we'll just sit there and, oh my God, I'm the perfect example of this is, woe is me, the inner pain. Oh, the pain I feel. Oh, losing hair, bald spot, middle age. It's all too much. And we're barely doing anything. It's like the women are out there doing it all. And then also having to suffer the singles and arrows of what we do to them. Anyways, that's the cough medicine talking. So that was kind of like, listen, there are so many great moments of episode 6, but let's get to episode 7 and so we can cover the whole thing, okay? So that was episode 6, Jax balding. Big thing to take away from. Kristen reveals that Michelle potentially had a boyfriend. Something's going down. Jesse turned into the Kool-Aid man, ran around the halls, pushed people into walls. Poor Zach made a face like, "Ugh!" His face, it's so great. I freeze for like Queens of Bravo posted this thing and I zoomed in on it. It's just like the most, it's like a face I would make if I was pushed. Ugh! He's like, I didn't sign up for that. I signed up to be on a reality show. What is this? Early seasons of Vanderpump Rules? The slap? I didn't want to get pushed into a wall at the Mondrian? Are you kidding me? Okay. So this is episode 7, and this is called The Number One Gossip of the Group. Great title. Not as strong as the hair loss one, but really good. And the cable company gives us this description. Janet and Jason confront Jax about cheating rumors. Boom! Solid first sentence. Luke has realizations about dating Kristen. Luke has realizations about dating Kristen. Wow. I will tell you the great thing about reality television, it's like that old adage of like, with friends like these, who needs enemies? Jax, Jax is one of those people. He is just touched by the hand of some like blessed God that protects this man because he literally shits on all of his friends. He shits on Janet this episode. He shits on Dodie like he badmouths Dodie to Luke. It is wild. Like there is, and then I sometimes just don't see how it's like this is video, this is on camera, this is evidence, and yet people still are close to this man. It is beyond me. Also, I do want to say something. No, I talked about the Valley not having a reunion, and I said my thought on it was good, good, because I felt like, man, it feels like this cast is really potentially at odds. That do you risk sorry, do you risk doing a reunion and potentially damaging these relationships further even before season 2 starts filming? Because I believe they're going to rush season 2 into filming this summer to kind of pick up for Vanderpump Rules not filming. I've yet to find out that out for sure, but that's my theory. But I was like, yeah, why do that? Why not just go into filming? We'll do a reunion at the end of season 2, and that way you have kind of 2 seasons to talk about all the insanity that's happened in a show that not a lot of people expected to do anything. A lot of people really shat on this show, except it's one of the only damn things I'm proud of. I'm wrong on so many things. This one, I think I was one of the only people saying, give it a shot. And now everybody loves it. So Chuck won. I'm like 1 for 8 right now in things that I'm right and wrong about. So, but I will say I got some information. I always protect my sources. There are so many things I don't even tell you guys about. I am trustworthy when it comes to this shit. But I will say there is one thing that I did hear from somebody that is close to the show saying that they want to do a reunion very badly, but that they almost think it's an expense cost, that they production is potentially trying to save money, and that the reunion would actually be good before they went into season 2 to actually clear up some things, and they think it would be a good thing, not a bad thing. Where I was like, ooh, it could really ruin potential certain dynamics within that group, but I was told that I'm potentially wrong about that. So listen, hopefully if we make enough noise, maybe they'll just the only thing is though, I just don't want it to be a Watch What Happens Live reunion. I don't want it to be on the Watch What Happens Live set. I believe they deserve their own set. I really do. I think they deserve that. Like you have old pros, you have Dodie and Jax, like they deserve an actual set. I want them, and that does cost money, but I think you got to spend money to make money, right? And I think the Valley is going to be one of those shows. I talked about that with 90210, where it kind of exploded in between seasons because people found that show. And I think The Valley is going to be one of those shows that it really is already doing good, but word of mouth is going to make it do even better. So by the time season 2 does roll around, this thing could be a real big juggernaut. And you have so many storylines already. The Jackson Brittany of it all, the Jesse and Michelle Lally. Like Janet Elizabeth is getting a lot of heat in a lot of different directions. You got that Janet Kristen relationship. You have whatever's going on with Zach, whatever. I mean, there's just a lot of different storylines. We barely know these people. So we barely know some of these people. So there's just a lot of room to go. There's a lot of places to go, which I'm really excited. So we pick up with scenes from previous episodes. We have Dodie talking about peeing on a stick and that she's not pregnant. We have the guys setting up a bed, making stupid guy jokes. And then we have the scene with Brittany and Jax where Brittany's like, you could at least make me feel sexy or something, just a little bit. But she, of course, is wearing the Jax Taylor shirt while she's saying this. And Jax is just staring off in the distance in his couch like, woe is me. I can't believe this is my life. He's like, hey, listen, babe, there's been a lot going on. Then Brittany telling the ladies like that she does not feel sexy. He doesn't make her feel sexy and he knows. But then also we have Nia, Danny and Nia, who I just think are just a really beautiful couple. I'm sure they have their issues as well. But Nia is dealing with postpartum depression, and it's a very real thing. And I think that's another reason why this show works is because you have the weight of this, a very real thing that so many women go through. I mean, a lot of men obviously go through depression as well, but postpartum depression, what I also find fascinating about Nia is somebody that has never gone through this in their life. So it is so foreign to them that it scares them, and you can tell. But she's being so vocal about it, which is what you need to be when you are dealing with something like this. And you see Daniel, the thing, like I just imagine Jax Taylor being like, oh, come on, you're a mom, get up there, do it. We need you. We need you. Like that's how I picture he would handle it with Brittany. But Daniel's like, listen, do whatever you need. We love you. We're in support of you. It is so good to see that example as well. He just says, you're not alone. I'm not going anywhere. And then Brittany talking to Michelle going, hey, a year ago when you were thinking about leaving, do you think about it anymore? And Michelle goes, I'm more unhappy than happy. And it's like, whoa, Michelle, I also finally so Michelle, I'm finally starting to get some of their patterns of speaking. Michelle's voice is dead in a lot of ways. And it's very like, I'm more unhappy than I'm happy. It's very kind of slow and low. Slow and low and very unfeeling. It's really interesting. And then we have that pool scene with the guys where they're saying like with Jesse, like, hey, do you think you'll work through the relationship even if she cheated? And Luke says, I'm holding a secret that could destroy everything. And then, of course, we end with the fight from last week where Michelle and Kristen are in each other's face and go, hey, she had a fucking boyfriend for a year, Kristen said. Oh, there, I said it. I'm an empath. We pick up this episode. We're at the Mondrian, back where it just happened. Kristen is saying, fuck this shit. All the other people are in the eating dinner still. Jax is like, did they leave? Who left? Who left? And Zach's like, no, they left. In a talking head, Janet says, Kristen has ruined enough meals for me. I'm hungry. I need to eat. I'm pregnant. Janet goes, Michelle, did Kristen threaten you again about protecting you? And they're like, this has nothing to do with protection. In a talking head, Jasmine says, I know what this rumor is. And we flash back to that scene with Jax and her 3 days ago, where Jax is opening his big mouth and says, she's been texting other men, Michelle Lally. And Jasmine's like, oh, shit. Yeah, Kristen told me this about Michelle, Jasmine. Jasmine says, I know deep inside Jesse is catching on. Okay, wait, maybe there's some truth to what's going on. I think that's why he's getting so worked up. Michelle in the scene goes, she is still threatening me. She said that my husband is divorcing me. And Jesse Lally is sitting there with his arms crossed. Brittany in a talking head says, I don't know what the heck is happening. And Zach is like, oh, Kristen, so close. It was that Michelle was going to leave Jesse, not that Jesse was going to leave Michelle. Danny in a talking head says, I'm a fixer. I need to help and fix. I need to try to fix the situation. And Nia goes, we don't need to get in the middle of it. He's like, I just want to help. She says, no. I love that Nia's like, no, don't help. Don't get in the middle of something. I'm like, oh, Nia, like you're in a reality show. That's not going to fly. We need Danny to really try to butt in and try to help. And then he ruins things even further. That's reality television. Nia is acting like a normal human person where it's don't get involved. Don't do it. We have 3 kids under 2. You're not sleeping. I'm pumping milk all the time. Don't do it. He's like, I'm a fixer, babe. I'm a fixer. We come back into this dining room and Michelle is kind of heated and she's like, did any of the people in this room say that about him leaving me? And Jackson and talking head goes, should I say something just to get involved? Like, should you yell at me? I feel like I'm left out here. I don't know what to do with myself when I'm not involved in the conversation. It's really weird. So they're in the dinner. I was like, that was intense. And then Nia's like, listen, my boobs are leaking all over the napkin, so I got to leave. What a great excuse. Like, I think that really was happening, but it's a really solid get out of jail free of like, guys, boobs leaking everywhere. Hey, Danny, we gotta go right now. Boobs leaking. Like, it's a great, I know it's really happening, but it's also one of the, I want to try it. I know it's not scientifically possible, but it is one of those things people wouldn't even question. They'd be like, oh, Ryan's lactating. He's got to go. You know, he really does got to go. Anyways, Danny's hugging everybody goodbye. And they get out of there, which is good because they're too nice to be here. We got dirty work to do. Jesse goes up to Jax, are you okay, buddy? Kristen said that she's going to divorce you in 2 months. And he's going to divorce you. And he goes, hey, wait, he's like getting confused. And he goes, listen, if anybody's divorcing anybody, it's going to be her divorcing me. Divorce isn't even in my vocabulary. Only the word capri is in my vocabulary. I love that that's his big defense. He's like, I don't know that word. In a talking head, he goes, my parents are still together. Both sets of grandparents died together. In the old days, you made a commitment and you stuck to it. That's my mentality. I love my family. He says this like some big badge of honor when it's like, dude, that's not the way the world works or should work. No, you don't just make somebody miserable and are miserable yourself and then just deal with that because you made a commitment. I know that sounds on paper like you're doing something noble, but sometimes people do not belong with each other. And I think even in just 6 short episodes, we see that Jesse and Michelle Lally are 2 of those people. And if it wasn't that way, Jesse Lally would not already be with somebody else right now. He got over that real quick. He probably did it just because she was dating somebody. So he's like, I got to date somebody just for looks. But it's like, that doesn't make you noble. It makes you a masochist. It makes you somebody that it's like, wait, what? You just want to continue being miserable and she be miserable? And like, she's wanted to be out for so long. And he's saying all of these things. And Michelle, they like cut to Michelle and you can just tell she's looking at like, oh God. Oh God. Imagine that too. Also of telling Dodie your innermost secrets and then realizing like you're literally at the whim of Dodie's emotions. Like anything wrong happens, like she'll just spill it. She'll spill it all. But Jesse's like, I'll do whatever it takes to keep my family together. That's the kind of man I am. I dress in weird suits and I'm a fighter. We made a commitment to each other. That's a big deal for me. And then in the scene, he goes, can we all agree that Kristen doesn't need to be part of this group anymore? And Michelle goes, I think our stance is if we're doing a group event, it's either us or Kristen at the group event. In a talking head, she says, what the hell did I do to her? Janet says, hey, for me personally, she's not invited to my shit. The producer says, is she still in possession, Michelle, of secrets about you? And Michelle goes, no, I can't think of what secrets Kristen is referring to. Jesse in the scene goes, I want to thank Jax for having this dinner and Zach goes, losing his bald spot. And Jax is like, what did I do? I'm now in it. But all of a sudden they all cheers and everybody's kind of like laughing again, which I don't even know how you get back to. This is how kooky they are. How you can even get back to normal again. This guy's marriage is falling apart. Rumors like he knows deep down. Michelle is just like, ha, okay, Kristen's the crazy one. And also we know from reality television that if you try to exile somebody in the group, you just make them stronger. It's like striking down a Jedi. Obi-Wan Kenobi, you kill him, you just make him stronger. What are you doing? You're giving that person, you're making Kristen Doty stronger. The legend of Kristen Doty. Oh, I mean, it's not like she lives to be exiled, but my God, you will make her the biggest urban legend there ever has been. It never works. It never works. All of these people like Janet saying, oh, she's not invited to my shit. Jesse, it's either her or us. Also, listen, the audience, regardless if it's, this is what, it's just so weird. How does Jax get away scot-free? Like Kristen can't go to things, but Jax can? just because Jax is better at like pinning the fucking tail on the donkey and like pinning the bullshit on other people that he does, just because he's slippier than Kristen, that he can get away with it, but he's able to still go to group events. I don't know why this like upset me. It just seems like wildly unfair, even though I get it, but it just you're playing with different laws, man. Reality show laws are different. You can't exile somebody, especially somebody like Kristen. But Michelle seems like really tickled with all of this. Like, okay, everything's gonna work out. Everything's gonna work out. Jesse's making fun of Jax, going, "Oh, I can see your bald spot now." And now I can see his bald spot too. How the mighty have fallen. Anyways, we cut from that scene. We have this beautiful music. Yay, yay, yeah, yeah. Yay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And we're at Jesse and Michelle Lally's home. Jesse's in the kitchen scrubbing a plate. He's like, oh, plate scrubbing. And Michelle's like, Jesse, I got us some smoothies. He's like, perfect. I dropped off Isabella at school and then I went for a hike. And then I thought smoothies would be good this morning. He's like, thank you. Cheers. Smoothie cheers. Cheers. She goes, last night was something, and just looks at him. He goes, yeah, Kristen's becoming pathological in her lying. And Michelle just stares. He goes, it's sad. It is sad. She doesn't know anything about our marriage. I have not told her anything, I swear. He goes, yeah, you stuck up for me right away. He goes, yeah, because it's apparent that it's not true. He goes, yeah. I think what actually it's doing, Michelle, is bringing us closer together because we're sticking up for each other all the time now because of Kristen. It was so hard for me to hear some of those things that she was saying, Michelle. It's just like waking up in the middle of the night and thinking about comments. We flash back to 3 weeks ago. Kristen's like, I've done nothing but protect you. And then Michelle telling Jesse in another scene, Kristen sent me a text message saying, I wanted to assure you that your secrets are safe with me. I don't know what that means exactly. Ooh. So back in this scene, she goes, uh-huh. So that gets in my head, Michelle. And then it's like, you went out with the girls. Why didn't you post any pictures of you guys cheersing margaritas or something? And I'm like, did she really go out with the girls? Or did she seen somebody behind my back? And all that does is like snowballs. And then I have all these crazy ideas in my head. There's really tense music playing underneath it. In a talking head, he goes, she used to yell at me when we first started dating if I put my cell phone face down. And then all of a sudden she's putting her cell phone face down. For years, she wouldn't go out and have a margarita without doing a boomerang. And then all of a sudden, she's not. And then she tells me sometimes I just like to take a break from social media. Bullshit. She never took a break from social media ever. Back in this scene, Michelle goes, that shouldn't be in your head. You shouldn't have to worry. We've never had that type of relationship where we have to worry about each other. And I've been honest with you. So, and he goes, but I hear the word secret. My head starts going off. So you understand why I could be a little bit more affected by it. And there's just a pause. She goes, yeah. Ooh. Okay, so it's great. There's so many great things about this scene because it's just so obvious she's busted in so many ways. And it is interesting because it kind of flips a lot of the normal tropes we see with men and women relationships on its head. Usually this is a woman worrying about their man, and we see it the other way around, which is refreshing. But at the same time, I love the fact that he's like, Kristen's actually bringing us closer together. And she's like, God damn it. God damn, I can't win. We're closer. I don't want to get closer with you. Are you kidding me? I got you a smoothie, but that's about all I want to do. Are you fucking kidding me? Kristen's not bringing us closer together. Do not think that. But also the fact that she's going out with her girls and she's not boomer. This bitch ain't boomeranging? Are you telling me she ain't boomeranging? Yeah, she is definitely getting dick down potentially. Because I love it. It's like, she ain't taking no social media break. Are you kidding me? I love it. I love that he is like waking up in the middle of the night and just hearing things like boomerang, 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 date, 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 Tarantino, Tarantino, Tarantino. And also, none of this should be a surprise to him because he let us know that she tried to move out a year ago. She got her own place. You don't do that unless you've got some other lifestyle things happening in your life with other people. So that's the kind of, I'm more curious about the conversations that they've had previously a year ago. Like, what were those conversations like? But I'm saying, like, it's so interesting to watch her because she just looks so busted and she's so monotone with the whole conversation. She's like, yes, I can understand why you would think that, Jesse. It's just really intense. And she knows. And then he goes, all right, well, Team Michelle and Jesse. And she goes, uh-huh, yeah, Team Michelle and Jesse. Like, so defeated. Team Michelle and Jesse. I'm stuck with you for the rest of my life. I think there's a part of her that almost like like it's almost good that Dodie is busting her out. Like part of her probably like there will be a scene like probably by the end of season 2 where she thanks Dodie in some weird way. And you'll be like, what? Anyways, we're now at Jackson Brittany's house. Guess what? Sherry, Brittany's mom, is there, and Mama's there. Mima is there. They're both there. We've got 3 generations of Britneys in the house. Then we fast forward, we move over to Dodie and Luke driving. And Kristen's like, hey, listen, maybe we could survive all of this and come to a place of tranquility with Michelle and Jesse, or maybe we just can't. That's in the car. And then we zoom on over to Danny and Nia's condo. And Nia, of course, is, holding a baby. Danny's holding a baby. And Danny's like, maybe Christian does know some things. And maybe they do know some things about Jesse and Michelle. Some's about to blow up. And Nia's like, yeah, what is it? Then we go over to Janet and Jason's house. And Janet says to Jason, I'm still shaken up about last night. Jasmine told me Jax knows what Christian meant by this protection comment. We flash back to the night before when Jasmine is telling Janet this, that Jax knows what it is. Janet goes, here's what I think happened. Michelle confided in Brittany and Christian about something about her marriage. Now, one of them has told Jax. Now Jax is telling Jasmine. And Jason's like, wait, what? Hey, Jason's like, hey, what do you and Jasmine have to do with this at all? And Janet's like offended, like, what the fuck? I'm a detective, damn it. Are you kidding me? I keep the streets of Valley Village safe. I love Jason. It's just like, damn it. I work all day. I'm a lawyer. I'm trying to work on my body. I've got like 6-pack abs. Now I'm like into this. Also, I feel like there needs to be some kind of like whiteboard where Janet's drawing like little stick figures of like, here's what I think happened. Like I want a diagram of some sort because Janet has it has it all in her mind. Here's what I think happened. And Jason just one of those like, oh man, I would rather be doing anything else. Like I would love to be watching paint dry right now. Like this is completely ridiculous. You can just tell Jason is potentially not there for the drama. I could be wrong, but it just does seem like he's very nonplussed about this. He's like, yeah, Janet goes, hey, listen, the telephone game has begun. I know the secret exists. And Jasmine, no, and he goes, have you spoken to Brittany about this? And she goes, no, but I want to. And he's like, oh, shit. And she's like, yeah, Jack should know better than to spread a rumor. Janet, you were talking about Jax Taylor. Jax does not know better than to spread a rumor. That's all Jax knows is to spread a rumor. Jax has been rewarded for spreading rumors his entire adult life. Are you kidding me? So Janet's saying Jax knows better to spread the rumor about someone's marriage. He's like, I'm sorry, but like even just yesterday, Sheena calls me and says, hey, Katie saw a rumor about Jax cheating online. We flash back to that scene with Sheena and Katie from Vanderpump Rules talking about that Reddit thread. And Janet goes, how would Jax and Brittany feel instead of, if I just went last night and said to Jasmine, I heard this rumor about Jax. Jax is a real big talker when it comes to other people's situation and drama, Janet says. And it almost does kind of feel like it's a flashbang that like the police throw to like distract you over here and make you disoriented so that you can't remember what's really happening over here. I think that should he really be focusing on his priority on his marriage, Janet says, instead of talking behind somebody's back. And Janet tells Jason, they know more than anybody else how quickly something else can be misconstrued and spread. And Jason is just sipping a glass of water this whole time. He's just sipping away at water. It's just like, how did I get here? Is this my beautiful life? Is this my beautiful wife? How did I get here? And the producer and I talking head with both of them says, do you like to gossip? And Janet's like, yeah, I do. And Jason just doesn't even smile. Jason goes, okay, certain people need some hobbies or jobs or something because this is just outrageous. And Janet goes, there's no reason I should know this. Jason says, once she got pregnant, Janet quit her full time job. And I didn't realize that she was going to be picking up another full time job. Janet says, I feel like guilty even hearing bits of this and not doing something about it. And Jason goes, yeah. In a talking head, talking gossip nonstop, he says. She says in this scene, like, where's your consideration for them as a family, for as a daughter? And Jason goes, hey, before we get too upset about this scenario, we still don't even really know anything, Janet. And she's like, yeah. And then he goes, sorry, this is too much. Weird drama for a pregnant lady. And he hugs her. And she's like, I know. But secretly, like her head's down, but you can tell she's smiling, like, ha ha ha. Ha. Detective Janet is on the case. I may be pregnant, but that's when I do my best work. Da 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 da. Inspector Janet. Da 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 da. Woohoo! And also, I feel like we just need to throw out like Jax, like I said, work in progress, learning. Jax does not learn. He's not a Terminator. I am a C-1300, a learning computer. My name is Jax Taylor. I have learned so many things from all of the rumors and bullshit and lies and cheating I've done over the years. I am learning to be a better husband, a father, and a killing machine. Okay, so we go out of that scene. We get more music. The music of the Valley is actually growing on me. It's I don't know. I don't know if it's I'm just giving up or something, but I like it. Anyways, Kristen and Luke, they're at a doctor's office seeing old Dr. Rothbart. I hope Dr. Rothbart becomes a recurring character. Kristen says to Luke, I just want to know that I'm fertile Myrtle. In a talking head, she says, hey, we've been having unprotected sex for 6 months. Why hasn't it happened yet? I like that Kristen's like, we've literally been having unprotected sex since the night I met him at that wedding behind the tent. But listen, she's like, we've been doing it all the time, raw dogging it. So this doctor's going to check my ovaries, do the follicles, greater chance I have of getting pregnant. So it's kind of intense. And she's like, I'm scared. I don't know why I'm so emotional. This is something I really want with Luke. God forbid this doctor tells me you cannot bear a child. So Dr. Rothbart comes in and he's like, hey, what up, dog? They're like, Luke's like, hey, I've never been to a doctor before. Regular, she says, 28 days, 5 days for period, like clockwork. Luke has his face like, what are you talking about? What are you even talking about? What are you talking about? Witchcraft with your cycles? What? No. Anyway, so thank God. I thought we were about to see, all of Dodie, but like we see Dodie's womb because we see it on the doctor screen or whatever they call that. And it's very real. So she's doing that thing, and like Luke's like, well, he just seems like kind of smiley and nervous, and his eyes are all like bright. He's like 4 or 5. The doctor's like 4 or 5. That's good. Okay, that's great. 5 to 10 is at 40 age is great. These follicles look exactly where they should be. And Luke's like, fuck yeah. He goes, just seeing these follicles is such a relief. And you can see it wash over her faith. Kristen's not just my girlfriend. She will be the mother to my children. She will be my wife one day. Let's hope for a little Luke. He also says that with such force. He's like, she will. It's like almost comes off like a threat. She will be my wife. She will be my wife one day. I will put a bun in that oven. There will be a little Luke. I like Luke a lot, but it's just so funny because what we've seen from this is that he is not just mild mannered. He's like gets into it. He gets all red faced. He gets into fights with guys over his woman. Very noble, but he's that guy like, I will knock her up. If it is the last thing I do, I will raw dog until we have a family of 8. So the doctor's like, listen, I think you try for 2 to 3 or 4 months, however long it takes until you feel like, okay, then next step. Kristen says, keep stress low, keep hopes high. And then Luke goes, keep stress low. Good. Yeah. How the fuck are you going to be on a reality show and keep stress low? You were just fighting in a fucking hallway the night before. Are you kidding me? We got to protect this Kristen at all costs. Anyways, we're now at Jax's place and Brittany's like, look how red my eyes are getting. Cause I guess she's like, her eyes are puffy, but Jax is sitting there and you can just tell he's like, oh, I'm expected to have sex with this puffy red. Mama is there, Brittany's grandma in the kitchen. And Jax is like, hey, let's keep it down so the kid can study. Cause he's taking his voice classes over here, the little baby boy. Sherry, the mom is there, and Jax goes, I'm hangry. I'm just angry. We can't be in the kitchen, ladies. We're making too much noise. We're paying a lot of money for this class. Brittany says, if Jack shushes me one more time, I'm going to knock the fire out of him. That was very like Ken Todd, remember Vanderpump Rules when DJ James Kennedy was drunk and he was like, Ken over. And, Ken Todd was like, I'm going to knock the spot clean out of you, boy. It was like Ken like came alive because Ken's usually like, I can't believe Tom fucked her Ellen Jacuzzi. I can't believe that. But this dude was like, I'm going to knock your spot clean out. And Brittany was like that. I'm gonna knock Jax clean out if he tells me not to smart one more time. Anyways, it's a very real relationship. So they're gonna go eat on the patio while their son takes his class. We cut to Janet and Jason. They're walking over to Brittany and Jax's place. It's like, why are you inviting people over if your son's taking class and you're already upset about noise? Anyways, Janet and Jason come out. Brittany and Jax are there. I don't know where Sherry and Mama went, but Brittany's like, I'm wondering if all the craziness last night my eye got scratched. I don't really know. And Jackson's like, I was annoyed with the whole situation last night. And Janet goes, hey, I want to ask you, Jax. Jasmine last night said that Jax knows what the protection comment's about, and he told me what it is. So everyone's like, what? And Jason in a talking head's like, no. And Brittany's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's like, what the fuck? Like, this just shows you, like, Jax doesn't even tell Brittany everything. Jax does his dirty work behind closed doors. Brittany's like, what are you talking about? Knowing the protection thing. What? And Jax is like, well, yeah, what Kristen told me. And Brittany's like, told you what? That she thinks Michelle is doing something on the side or whatever, texting her or whatever. Wait, when did Kristen tell you something? Yeah, she told me when she was here one night when she was drunk. And Janet's like, okay, well, that's, I didn't even know what it was. And Jackson goes, listen, this is again coming from Kristen, so it could mean absolutely nothing. Because she's a fucking batshit crazy woman. That's like, I like it. Like, this, why is Kristen over there drunk in the first place? She makes it sound like she's like the Blair Witch just running around Jax's backyard by herself, just shouting out things, and Jax happened to hear one of them. Like, this is so ridiculous. And the fact that Brittany doesn't even like, what are you talking about? What kind of hoo-ha nonsense are you talking about? And Janet's like, it's all becoming clear now. And Jason, you can just tell, doesn't want to be there. He has that whole make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. Kind of like, make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away. Make me a bird. He just does not want to be there. Janet continues on, Detective Janet, and says, hey, Jasmine also said that you know the details of this situation too, Brittany. And so that's why I was like, okay. And Brittany's like, I'm not like Kristen. I'm not going to tell my friend's business. Whether I know something or not, or don't know something, Brittany should not be in it because Brittany ain't running her mouth. Jason says, listen, I'm going to say, my man, you kind of jumped on the Kristen train. Like, why were you telling Jasmine about that? And Brittany's like, why were you doing that in general? I don't like that, Jax. And Jax is like, it's because of the protection thing. Everybody's asking what that means. Jax, like, by the way, you can't mess with a master manipulator like Jax. This man was born lying. You think that you're going to catch him up on this? He's like, no, listen. Everybody's asking about the protection thing. I'm doing a civil service here. I'm doing a duty. And Janet's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you, like, you just tell her face. He goes, I do know what it means, but it's not my place to say. I don't even know if it's true. Don't act like you wouldn't do this, Janet, he says. That's the part that's funny, that she's calling me out when she would do exactly the same thing, he says in a talking head. Like, he calls Janet out saying, she's exactly like I am. I mean, he goes, I feel like I'm losing my touch a little bit in the, I mean, it was such an easy project. Jasmine, just go figure out what Michelle is texting, then come back and tell me so I don't have to do it myself, and then I'll drop the bomb. And then he smiles like an Eddie Haskell. He's like, ding, that is Jax. Jax is, this guy is running like 5 different operations at once. I don't even know what it's for. I don't even know what's for a hit show. If this is just what is like, certain people have callings in life. A lot of people will be like, I was called to the priesthood. Jax is called to just fuck shit up. He's like, it's a calling. I don't know. Like, it comes to me. Some people, they're good with a football. I'm good with like completely destroying relationships. I don't know. And Janet goes, oh my God. And Brittany's like, Jax just can't help himself with the gossip. And Jack's like, it's not my fault. He goes, Janet's like, it needs to stop, Jax. It's not my fault. It's a calling, Janet. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Poor Jason is just sitting there, just rocking back and forth. It's barely coherent. Brittany has her big glasses on with her red eyes going, come on, I know the secret, but I'm not going to say it. Anyways, we come back to the new scene. It's a funky song going, you got to be you. You're going to feel alive. We're at the park with Asher, 19 months old. Danny and Nia are there, and Nia says that she needs her son's smile. It's like medicine for her. Isabella and Zariah, 9 weeks old, they're in their strollers. And Danny says, hey, how are you feeling today emotionally, Nia? And she goes, almost numb, but I do really want to talk to Sally. Sally's the therapist. And she said, I can call her soon. And he goes, great. I just don't feel like myself quite yet. She says in a talking head, I've reached out to Sally because she dealt with a lot postpartum, and she is someone that helps and mentors other women that are going through this. And she's a really good resource for me, Nia says, and it does sometimes feel really isolating. So she goes and calls Sal. She's like, hey, how are you doing? Um, so she walks away from Danny to have this conversation. She says, I'm dealing with some baby blues, and the blues aren't going away. And she's kind of tearing up. I'm working out, I'm praying, I'm journaling, I'm doing all of it. Well, it's kind of like Tom Sandoval. I'm journaling, dude. I'm a completely changed dude. Hey, Nia, have you tried cold plunges and scream therapy, breathing work? Tom Sandoval also tried those as well. I'm really happy about the journaling though. But anyway, she's saying I'm doing all of these things. I'm working out, I'm journaling, I'm praying, and just nothing is working, and it's not stopping, and it's just Sally says, what I've learned from my postpartum experience is just like the baby blues are kind of like days and weeks after. And if you feel like things are lingering after that, then maybe it's something more. She says, I've continued to call it baby blues. I don't want to put a heavier label on it, Nia says, because I'm really the type of person where I don't want to give it power. But it was nice to hear. And she almost like gave me permission to say that it might be a little bit more than baby blues. This just makes me feel like I can take a deep breath. It lifts a weight off. Isn't that amazing too about how hard it is to talk to people in this world when it's almost like a secret shame you carry when you're not feeling right because you don't know why. And you feel like I have everything in the world to be happy about. And I think this is such a really important scene because you really do see that relief that she's like, okay, like it almost gives people like sometimes all you have to do is say because you're so scared to talk about it because it's so frightening and it's so large and you feel like nobody's going to really understand. And then sometimes when people do, it is like this huge weight off and it gives you a little bit of hope. And that's what you're dealing with sometimes when you're dealing with these things that you can't control and mental things and all of this stuff is that you're just looking to be told that it is going to be all right because it is really scary sometimes to go through these things because you just feel so beaten down by it and you don't know how to get out of it. And I can't even imagine how that feels with the postpartum of it all. And you bring life into this world. But she says, listen, it's really hard because these kids, they need me all the time. They depend on me. The gratitude and the blessing that I'm feeling is kind of competing in my head with like the darkness and the heaviness, which is such like, man, that's so real. That's so real. So, man, am so uh I'm so supportive of this couple and their journey, and I'm so curious to see where they end up. But also, it's very interesting too because you can tell that they have a very strong religious base, and sometimes that can even play into things. It's a little hard because you sometimes can't pray things away, and that can be scary. It can sometimes rock your faith or your belief. And I'm curious what their thoughts about all of that have been in regards to just the religious nature of it, which I don't think we'll ever find out about on the show. Anyways, Jackson, Brittany, we go into their car, and Brittany's like, where are we going right now? What are you doing, you rascal? What are we doing? Where are we going? She's like, where am I going? And Jackson's like, I can't tell you anything. This is, I think, thank God there's cameras. Like I've seen Dateline episodes like start this way where it's like, sorry. Anyways, but you can tell Brittany is legitimately excited. She's like, are you serious? And he's like, listen, I've been working so hard on all my projects, mainly the bar. So he's saying this in the talking head. Like, I like that he's like a kid. I've been working on so many Legos that I've been working on so many little projects that I've not been able to romance, wine, dine, and 69 my old wife. But anyways, they show Brittany in the car and she has her head. She's like, oh my God. She is so excited. And this is what makes you kind of root for Brittany because she really does like, oh my God, he's doing it. He's romancing me finally. And she's so excited. It's so sweet. He goes, as a result of that, I put my relationship on the back burner because of my projects, you know? And I've been told that I need to like try. He goes, okay, here we go. And they pull up to this house and she's laughing like, oh my God. He goes, I want her to know that I am trying. So they open the door opens and he's like, is this an office or something? This lady opens. She's like, it smells great in here. There's incense burning. He's like, I'm very interested in what we're going to do today. He goes, I'm Janelle Gordon. I'm an intimacy tantric sexpert. And Jackson's like, is this a sex room? Also, like, dude, what about like dinner and a movie, man? Like, wait, what? She said, romance me. She didn't say like, take me to like a place to learn how to bone differently. Like, literally, you just had to go to fucking Applebee's and like see a movie or something, not go to some strange ladies. Like, it's not even an office; it's a house. She's burning incense. This like it's like the same thing with like us men. We will do anything but go to therapy. Like Jack, like Tom Sandoval, journaling, doing like breath work. Like, no, just go talk to somebody. Like, this is ridiculous. She just said, give me some me time. I don't need to go learn the Kama Sutra. Brittany's like, I thought I was going to do a yoga class or something. I didn't know we were doing this. It's like, am I going to have to get in this lady's bed doing weird stuff? She goes, the lady's like, all right, thanks so much for coming. I work with couples just like yourself all over the world who are wanting to have better intimacy and better sex and more orgasms. And Brittany's like, amazing. All right. Okay, we're going to find out what's going on in your relationship and your marriage and give both of you some tantric tools. Is there a special occasion? And Jack goes, well, we're two busy individuals. I have a lot of projects. Just had a baby. Sex is bottom. We need to move it back up. And Brittany's like, I don't want to turn into roommates. And the lady's like, how many times a week are you having sex? And she goes, it's been over a month. And she says, twice in the past year. It's bad in a talking head. The lady goes, how do we get back to that magnetized state? And Brittany's like, I like to put on some little lingerie with some with a heel just because I am always in mommy mode. Sometimes I wonder if like Jax isn't attracted to my body, she says in a talking head, after having a baby because it has changed so much. I've got a lot of stretch marks. I got loose skin. That could be really hard to deal with sometimes. But it could be hard to deal with for you, Brittany. Like you're thinking about Jax, but like you got to think about your needs as well. And Jax is just sitting there. I just feel like he's like giving the once over to the tantric lady going, I'd rather do the bone zone with this one, Like you just see Jax just staring off. It's really weird. It reminds me of the Reiki specialist he went to after the whole situation with Faith. Anyways, the lady's like, it looks to me like your body language that you're both very open. And he goes, yeah. I don't feel like there's cheating or weird stuff. And Brittany's like, we had it in the past, but we worked through it. He goes, before we were married. Yeah, before we were married. Talking to she's like, I know with Jax, there's always going to be rumors out there. And we flash back to Katie Maloney telling Sheena about the cheating rumor, about him cheating in Atlantic City. And Jenna goes, I think that's complete bullshit. Brittany says in a talking head, I definitely don't think Jax is cheating, but of course it's always in the back of my mind. It's like, if he's not cheating, then why do we have so many intimacy issues? The tantric lady says, why do marriages end? Well, they don't end for lack of love. Jax is like, people are lazy. They don't have projects. Nobody fights for it, Jax says. They all say, well, it didn't work. Which is so funny because it seems like that's literally what Jax did in regards to like Brittany moving out. It just seems like he's given up. Like, according to Brittany, like he won't really do therapy, all of this stuff. Like, but this is just wild. Like, even a couples counselor would have been better than a tantric sex counselor. No offense to all the tantric sex counselors that are listening right now. But it just seems misguided in so many ways. And I just feel, and this is just by somebody that watches these shows, it just feels like Jax never truly loved her the way that she needed to be loved in the first place. And when he did cheat with Faith, remember, like he was caught on, like she recorded him saying that he wasn't attracted to Brittany, didn't want to have kids with her, all of these things. So I feel like you're literally coming to the end of this relationship based on things that he felt from the beginning, but he almost felt guilt because he did cheat and got caught, that he had to stay in this and prove everybody wrong, including his own mind, in a sense. But this lady's like, they don't want to actually do the work, right? People don't. That's how relationships end. She's like, I'm going to show some things that we're going to cultivate some intimacy. And she pulls out this double sided dildo. No, I'm joking. Wouldn't that be great, though? We're like, okay, Brittany, you're going to shove the big part of this into Jax's behind. Oh, I can do that. We do this all the time. It has been a minute. No, she says, we're going to do this thing called soul gazing, which I'm like, yeah, we are. She's like, okay, face each other. Okay. We're going to do soul gazing. And I want your knees to touch. You're just going to slide your hands in these little, in his hands. You're going to close your eyes, breathe in together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold the breath. Exhale it out. This is Tom Sandoval all over again. Jack says, Brittany's been my rock since day one. We flash back to them coming up to Sir. He goes, this is my wife. This is my partner, my best friend. This is my soulmate, I guess. He goes, this is my soulmate, I guess. We show their proposal. He goes, she's been everything in my life for the last 10 years. It's all I know. We flash back to the wedding. He goes, I want to do whatever I can to be that guy that she first met. I hope she sees that I'm putting in the effort. I hope that this buys me a little time. Buys you a little time from what? To figure out what the fuck you're doing in your life? Brittany goes, I feel like he tries to put on this front like things aren't as bad as they actually are. We flash back to her pregnant. She's like, I can tell that Jax does not appreciate me anymore. He doesn't like lift me up, put me on a pedestal, make me feel good about myself. And she's just staring at him in this tantric pose. And he just has like a really sweet smile on. And we flash back to some of their fights. And she says, I just feel like we've been together so long. He doesn't care to make that effort for me anymore. We have the baby crying in a scene. She's like, in this scene, she's smiling at him. It's like, that stopped a while ago. And if that doesn't change, I don't know what's going to happen with us. The tantric lady's like, did you feel connected to him? And she goes, yeah, that felt good. That felt real good. And Jax is kind of smiling like, yeah, I'm Jax. Yeah. I don't know. It was a weirdly sad scene. I mean, it was so weird to go to this tantra thing. And like, I just like that he's like, well, I did it. I took her to a tantra. This should get her off my back for a couple months. Hey, she got what she needed. We cut to Jax in a different scene with his red Camaro. He has got like this baseball cap on. He's at a bowling alley meeting the boys. Saturdays are for the boys. We have Jason. We have Luke. They're at this place called Corbin Bowl. And it's men bowling. So what else do you want? Jason's like, I'm going to get my hands on some balls. And I'm like, hell yeah, you are, brother. Jackson's like, I don't know how I'm going to handle this situation. I think Luke's a great guy. I kind of want Luke to have a come to moment and see what Kristen is really kind of going off the rails a little bit and going after everybody. I like that Jackson's like, I got to sit this guy down and give him the lay of the land. Tell him how dope he really is. Anyways, Jax goes to bowl. He sucks, dude. He makes like this big pose where he's like doing the splits and then he throws the ball and he just sucks. It's all artifice with Jax. With this Luke, he's throwing strikes, baby. This Colorado bowler came out of nowhere. It's full on kingpin. So the guys sit around. Luke goes, Chris and I bowled a couple times over the winter. And Jax goes, hey, listen, a lot of stuff going on, but that dinner the other day went so south so fast. This isn't healthy for anybody, right? And everybody's like, I completely agree. Everybody's like, yeah, I agree. And Jason's like, yeah, you're defending your girlfriend. And Jason says, it's very difficult for me to put myself in Luke's shoes, but like, you don't have to be Bonnie and Clyde. Clyde could also have like told Bonnie not to rob the bank. Clyde could say, hey, Bonnie, like, let's just go and be like nice to everybody and not spread rumors. This Jason, I want to live in the world that Jason lives in. Jason lives in this kind world where nobody talks shit. Luke says, hey, explain to me, you guys, why people are still backing Jesse. And Jason goes, I can talk about that a little bit. Jesse, he's kind of been under attack by your girlfriend for the last month. She said something along the lines of, he wants to divorce Michelle. Jack's like, which is not true. Luke says, the only thing I said after the daddy daycare thing, Jesse said jokingly, I don't think it's going to last another 6 months. Jason says, Kristen got the information that you gave her, that information that you just said, and it went into her ear and it came out of her mouth as Jesse wants to divorce Michelle. Jack goes, she twist story, bro. And Luke goes, yeah, she says stuff and literally doesn't remember. And Jax goes, you just said it, brother. Kristen is a known liar. She's a known liar, Jack says. Let's all just take a second just to laugh together as a family. Jack says she's a known liar. She Jack. She's like, this is literally like Luke and Leia from Star. I don't know why I'm using so many Star Wars references, but it's like Jax and Kristen might actually be brother and sister. Like, I love the balls on Jax of like, she's a known liar, dude. She's a known, hey, tell it from, hey, take it from a truth teller. She's a known liar. I'll tell you that much. She's a known liar. And then Luke brilliantly goes, well, you're also a self-described pathological liar. We flash back to 2015 at a reunion with Andy going, are you a pathological liar? And Jax goes, everybody does that now and then. And then Jax goes, hey, wait, Luke, what have you done? What have you done in your life a decade ago? There's probably things that you've done in your life that you're not proud of. Like, I was a terrible person, Luke, but guess what? I grew up. And we do a flashback of all the times that Jax has said he's grown up. And Jax is like, I'm 40. I worked my ass off to get where I am right now, brother. I have a great home. I started a business. I'm building a business. I got everything in the world that I could possibly ask for. There's got to be a point in your life where it's got to click. You know, it's not cool anymore to be a piece of shit, a liar, and this and that. Every one of her boyfriends says she's a compulsive liar, Luke. And I'm not mad at you, brother, but you have to understand that everybody is like done with her. And Luke is just taking this in. Jason goes, put yourself in Jesse's position. Don't you kind of think if you were him that Kristen would think that he would think that Kristen's trying to ruin his life? And Luke says, listen, I empathize with him, but his reactions have been over the top and unacceptable at times, but I do understand him being triggered about things being said about his family. And Jackson's like, I feel like you're starting to understand where we're coming from, that you get it. Luke says, in no way I'm not defending Jesse, but I'm not blind. I can still see what's going on, Luke says in a talking head. Jason says, are you going to talk to Kristen, or are you just going to, these guys are douchebags and they're like dickheads, you know? And Luke's like, of course I'm going to talk to her. She's got to know where everybody else stands. This is weird too, because it's one of those guys of like, are you going to keep your lady in line? He's like, of course I'm going to keep my lady in line. I'm a man, dude. I have acreage in Colorado. But Luke says in the talking head, listen, I want to have Kristen's back 24/7. Like, he makes that very clear as well. Like, I'm going to have her back. She's priority. So that was kind of this weirdly ridiculous scene. But once again, it's that scene where I was talking about earlier where Jax just gets off. He gets off without like anything really truly. And if you point out something to him, he explodes. That was the old me. I grew up. Something clicked in my head. And you can look every one of his scenes with Brittany. We see that he is still the same person essentially, but he gets to talk like he's like coming down off of like he's like some kind of a saint all of a sudden. So, anyways, we go to this next scene. Honey, honey, look, but you can't touch. And we have Danny and Nia. They're going on a little double date with Jesse and Michelle Lally. So, you know, this is going to be fun. Just two great couples. You know, Danny's like, listen, if things go south, just let's go to the lactating thing immediately, okay? Danny also talks about that it's time to move. They're bursting at the scenes. So they're thinking about getting a house, but they're going to get a house potentially in Santa Clarita, which is pretty far from LA. It's where like Magic Mountain is, you guys. So they have outgrown the apartment. It is interesting to watch the two couples together too, because Nia and Danny are all like kissy, and Michelle and Jesse clock it. And, you know, Jesse in a talking head's like, we don't do that kind of thing. And Michelle's like, we're in a different category. We don't do that sort of thing. And Jesse's like, did you sign the DocuSign? That's our thing. Jesse's like, hey, did you guys pick a minivan yet? Do you guys want to buy a house first, or do you want to buy a car first? So they talk about the moving to Santa Clarita, and well, I don't, you know, like, move. It's fine. It's far out there, but they've got a big family. I don't care. They're a great couple. So Jesse says, hey, we talked a little bit about today. Kristen, she's attacking our family every week. And Michelle's like, specifically me. I want to say that I feel a little naive because a lot of people warned me about Kristen, and now more than understanding what every single person has told me. And I'm like, holy shit, how did I not see it? And Nia's like, I'm so postpartum hormones like crazy. She's starting to tear up. She's like, I hate what's happening, but I also am dealing with so much lactating, just like spewing everywhere. She's like, this is not clearly anything to cry over. Nia says, it is hard for me to watch anything that's happening between Kristen and Michelle, but at the same time, I feel like it's too much to take on. I already have so much I'm dealing with, and I'm so overwhelmed in my own world that hearing all this negativity, it kind of makes my cup that are already full of emotions just feel like spilling over. And she's like, I'm dealing with like postpartum depression and stuff like that. And it's so frustrating because it feels like out of my control. I feel like I don't always see the light at the end of the tunnel. And Michelle Alley's like holding her hand. It's okay. It's okay. You can call me anytime, honestly. And Nia's like, thank you. I like Nia though. Nia's like, I don't have time for this bullshit. I do not care about Chris. That sounds awful, but like me and my husband are in love. I'm dealing with a whole different thing. And even Michelle Alley is like tearing up, just holding her hand. But I just love Jesse tries to talk shit about Dodie and Nia shuts it down. Like, that sounds awful. I'm dealing with the real world. I can't do this at. Okay, so we cut from that scene and we go over to Jackson and Brittany's house. And Cruz, 2 years old, they're hugging him and kissing him. It's very cute. And Brittany lets us know, listen, Jax finally set up a date night, which I am so happy about. But he waits until my mom leaves town to schedule an overnight date night. 2 days ago, we're saying goodbye to Mama and Brittany's mom. And Brittany's like, the whole reason she was here was to watch Cruz. Janet and Jason come in and they're going to babysit Cruz while Brittany and Jax do an overnight and hopefully get some sex going. Brittany says, I hope this night is great and it helps us get back into our romantic mood. Jax tries to get Jason to do a shot with him. He's like, you can have a shot. You don't need to be sober to watch my kid. Come on, he's fine. He just bumps into walls. It's fine. The producer asked Jason, what is your experience with babies and young kids? And Jason's like, none, really. Why? Do I need to have experience? He's like, the whole holding babies things, when I kind of think of the cost benefit analysis, worst case scenario, I drop this baby. Best case scenario, I'm just holding a baby. So I don't really understand why anyone wants to hold these babies so badly. This is, Jason got a little flack for saying this. I was reading online, but it's like, dude, he doesn't have a kid. He doesn't know. And like, yeah, I think guys think of it from a totally different place. And I would also be curious to talk to Jason now that he does have his baby. I bet he feels a lot differently with holding his own child. I bet he's not thinking about a lot of cost risk analysis. Maybe he is though. He's, who knows? But I just think sometimes you do talk out of your ass about certain things and it doesn't make sense to you until you're actually in that situation. So anyways, Jackson and Brittany leave and this Cruz, he's already running around the house crying. Just all immediately they speed up. Like this guy's running all around. It would be great if Cruz was like fully verbal when his parents leave. He's like, I thought they would never leave. My God. Whoo. Can I talk to you guys? I need an escape plan. No, now we move over to Kristen and Luke's place. And Luke is like, after you make your drink, will you come sit on the couch with me? I got to tell you about some things that Jackson and Jason were saying. And Kristen's like, sounds like a bomb to drop. She's an empath, so she knows these things. So Kristen sits down. She's like, this feels weird. It feels heavy. And Luke's like, well, Jason and Jax said that some people don't want to be around you. And people are afraid of like allegations that aren't true that are coming out of your mouth when you're triggered. And Kristen just is like, okay. And he goes, I mean, the claim that Jesse wanted a divorce in the next 2 months, that's not something I ever said to you. You said he's planning on leaving Michelle, Luke, in the next couple of months. No, I said he doesn't see it lasting more than the next couple of months. I didn't say he wanted a divorce. And that's kind of like, I think where people are, and Kristen's like, okay. She's like, well, people are calling you a liar. Is that a word has changed and that has different implications? And Kristen's like, I agree. End of story. And just looks down. And Luke goes, do you follow me like that? When a word or two is changed, Kristen, it can change the whole meaning. And Kristen goes, words are hard. And he goes, yeah, words are hard. This is just a really low spot for our relationship, he says in a talking head. It doesn't feel good seeing her so stressed and upset and anxious. None of the happy-go-lucky Kristen. It's like it's all gone. Her flame's out. See some early seasons of Vanderpump Rules, Luke. So he goes, how do you feel? And she goes, I accept that the way that I heard something and the way that I repeated it may not be correct. I'm not doing like a but, whatever. However, they know exactly what the fuck they're doing. And Luke just sighs. When you're terrified, Luke, about the skeletons that you have, all you got to do, and he goes, you got to stop. You got to stop. Let's bring her ex-boyfriend to guys' night. Let's stop. And he goes, let's stop talking about other people's skeletons. Just own it. Just say, I shouldn't have said that. I messed up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And she goes, I feel like that's all I say. You don't say it, babe, that way. You say, I'm sorry, but that's not taking complete ownership of it, Kristen. And I think if we're going to move forward, that's something that can't keep happening. And Kristen's just like, what? And then in a talking head, Kristen goes, if? Don't ever say if. Are we a fucking joke? We're planning a family. We're planning a future. When we work past this, Luke, don't freak me out right now. It is threatening in this talking head. Woo! Luke is like, do you agree that you do that sometimes, Kristen? She goes, yes. And just silence. And she goes, so I think that we've nipped this in the bud. And I like it. Like, look at me. I think we've nipped this in the bud. And then she's like, do you want to see one of my boobs? Would you like to see both? We've nipped this in the bud, right? You can see my butt naked if you want, but we've nipped this in the bud, right? But I will say I'm very impressed with Luke. Like, Luke did not roll over. Luke was like really kind of, I thought this would go a completely different way, but Luke was weirdly, like, I just didn't expect him to be as firm as he was. Like, he made sense. And I think that's potentially a good thing. Luke in a talking head goes, Kristen, this is not a conversation. Luke goes, I can't do this with you tonight, Kristen. It needs to be back and forth, not just I hear you, I understand. I hear you, I understand. I'm sorry, but I didn't do this. She goes, you're putting me in a bad spot. Honestly, you're putting me. And Kristen's like, I don't want to do that. But you continue to double down, Kristen. I feel like you're not even listening to the real issue is here. This is not the Kristen that I know, he says in a talking head. This is not the Kristen that I fell in love with, that I banged on the first night outside the tent at the wedding. And Kristen's like, okay, let's just get through it. I can do this. I can do this. And Luke just like turns his head, looks frustrated. And Luke goes, I don't feel like I can get through to her at all in a talking head. Woo! Damn, real relationship right there. That's what we're looking for, folks. That was real. And you really saw how Kristen potentially operates and how she tries to shut down real conversation, just says, yes, I got it. I got it. I got it. And he knows that that's not good. That's not going to be long lasting relationship stuff. You gotta push past that stuff. It was really fascinating. So we cut back to the Mondrian. We're back at the Mondrian. And Brittany's like, here's our penthouse. And she's like, woo, penthouse, baby. Ooh, cute. They go in. We see the beautiful view of Los Angeles. This Mondrian, man, deal with the devil. Jax goes, we used to have so much fun. And then we had a child and I just feel like it all went out the door. And there's roses on the bed, you guys. And he goes, does the TV work? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We're going to fuck. We're going to fuck. He goes, I've heard stories of this happening. And I'm like, it's not going to happen to me, but it did. It did. And I think the pressure's on for me, he says. There's like a table set up. And she's like, what do you got? What do you got planned? She's like, well, we got a beautiful chef coming. And she's like, they're going to make it here. Yep. And she's like, are you secretly in your head thinking about Cruz? And she's like, it's all I can think about. We flash over to Jackson Brittany's house. Cruz is in his pull-up, just running around like a maniac. They're trying to put him to bed now. He's trying to crawl out of the crib. Janet's like, he's a lot. He's a lot. We are Cruz's bitches tonight. And we flash back. Jason's like, Cruz is just sitting on the floor playing with his toys in the dark. Anyways, we back to the Mondrian. The chef's there making food. It actually looks cool. I don't know if I'd want to cook a full meal in a hotel room, but it looks nice. Jackson's like, this is amazing, right? We've come a long way from that shitty apartment over there in Koreatown. We flash back to 2015 with that apartment when Brittany first moved to Los Angeles. And he goes, are you excited about the bar opening? And Brittany's like, sure, of course. I just want to make sure you're not there 24/7. He's like, I'm not going to be there 24/7. I'm going to be there at least 3 days a week. They're presented with the food. I think Brittany needs to take these. She's wearing these big old glasses. I think she needs to take. Anyways, they have lobster rolls. They have sesame crab rolls, the whole deal. Brittany loves it. And Jax goes, hey, I just want you to know having more kids requires more work. We're opening up a bar. And you're trying to add another kid. And Brittany's like, bar comes second to having another child to me. And Jackson's like, we have to work a lot. We both will, Brittany says. But we already said we're going to have another child. And we are starting. We're trying soon. And Jax is like, oh, brother. Oh, man. In a talking head, she says, we had a plan. This is happening. Flashback to 1 week ago saying, we're going to start in a month. Why in the world is he doing this to me? Jack says, obviously, Cruz needs a little bit more attention because, with his verbal. I'm just worried also that bringing another child in this world isn't going to take away from the focus that we need to put on him right now. And Brittany's kind of upset. We flash back to 3 weeks ago, watching Cruz work with his teacher. And Brittany goes, Cruz is always going to have what he needs. I'm upset that you're making me feel like that I'm not putting Cruz first, which I never. He's like, I never said you're not. I care about him more than anything in this entire world, Jax. I never said that, Brittany. And now you're deflecting and you're going into other things. I said, if another child comes into this world, I don't get what you're trying to say because we've talked about this for years. That was always the plan. If you're not ready to have a kid right now, you need to let me know. That's it right there, folks. He goes, I'm not saying that. I live for my kid. I live for him. Literally the only thing I even care about in this world. Don't cry. There's no reason. There's no reason to be sad. I can't even have an emotion. No, you can't. You can't cry about something like this. Ridiculous. This is the stuff that you're supposed to cry about. This is real life shit. Having another child? Jack's making her feel guilty about this shit, and that's it. Brittany called out immediately. If you're not ready to have a kid, you got to say it. No, it's not that. It's everything but that. And we all know it's that. It's that. He doesn't want to have another child. He can make all these excuses, but like that's us guys. We make all these excuses, all this bullshit, when at the end of the day, he doesn't want it. And he's trying to make her feel bad. He's trying to put it on her. All of a sudden, he hasn't worked for years. Oh, I got so much work, all these projects. Anyways, Brittany's like, I feel like I do not even know Jax right now. He has blindsided me. I'm a great mom. I'm a great wife. And it almost feels like I've done something wrong. And I know I haven't. So it fucking sucks. Good for you, Brittany. Brittany understands it completely. Jax goes, I'm scared. What if something's going to happen, We have to be in this together, Jax. I understand that, but I have to work as well. My job considers me to leave the house. Yours doesn't. And she goes, what? The bar's supposed to be both of us. I know, but you're going to go to the bar 6-7 months pregnant? If you want to put the bar before having another child, that's on you. He goes, I can't think of anything more overwhelming right now than bringing another child in this world, he says in a talking head. Brittany doesn't see the big picture that I see. She sees rainbow and butterflies and money grows on the tree in the backyard. Do I keep working on my marriage or do I throw another kid in the mix when everybody's already going to shit? It's not going to help our marriage. It's going to make it worse. We need a plan, he says in this scene. I'm a planner. I'm sorry. That's just who I am. But you don't even do anything. Brittany nails him with that one. I'll take care of everything. Well, that's a slap in the face right there. I didn't mean it like that, Jack. So that's a terrible slap in the face. You definitely do things. Pick your butt. He goes, do you not see the house we live in? Do you think that just came out of nowhere? Poof. He goes, I think we both worked and they got that house together. We put the same amount of money in. I don't even like whenever you do this stuff. And Jax is just like, oh, got this free hotel at the Mondrian and this is the things I get. Jax gets up and Brittany's like, I don't know where to go from here. And the song, it's like this gospel song. It's like, get a little peace in your soul. And Jax walks out of the room. Get a little piece of your soul. Next time on The Valley. And we have Jax, Michelle, and Danny. They're in like a tutu having games. Then we're at like a hibachi grill. Then we have Brittany saying that she feels nauseous. And Jax is like, you're drinking. And then Michelle and Jesse talking. And Michelle's like, I hope you can change your personality to Jesse. And then Kristen's talking about a James May, her t-shirt company. And then we have a Jax saying that Janet and Jason are having a baby moon and she doesn't want to invite Luke and Dodie. So that's where we end. Woo! That is good shit. It is real, folks. It is not, there's a lot of real in there. It's really, really fascinating. I hope you had a good time. Sorry, my voice is still really kind of thrashed and stuff, but I'm glad we got through this. I hope you enjoyed some of this, and I hope you guys have the great start to your week. Come back. We got great episodes all week. I miss talking to you guys on a daily basis, even though you probably don't listen to every episode. But if you do, thank you so much. And I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you every day this week. So don't complain. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. It's going to be fine. I'll talk to you over on Patreon tomorrow too. I'm going to do the Summer House recap. Okay. Bye guys. Have a good day.